Patterns of organization. When reading, an author will organize their text in a particular manner, otherwise known as patterns of organization. These patterns are important for readers and writers to understand. The importance is rooted in your ability to identify the author's purpose and further know how to write these patterns for assignments. Though not all text can fit snugly into one of the patterns of organization explained, the purpose of this PowerPoint is to prepare students to identify text structure in reading passages. We will cover 4 common types of patterns of organization, including chronological, cause and effect, compare and contrast, and classification. The terms chronological order and process both refer to the order in which something occurs or is done. When writers tell a story, they usually present events in chronological order. In other words, they start with the first event, continue with the second, and so on. For example, if you were telling a friend about finding a new part-time job, you would probably start by explaining how you found out about the job. Continue by describing your interview, and end with the result. The manager was impressed with you and hired you on the spot. You would even put events in order according to the time they occurred, beginning with the first event. Essentially, all stories are told in chronological order, or order of time. However, authors may use additional patterns of organization, such as cause and effect, compare and contrast, to further convey information to the reader. Cause and effect explains the reason why something happened, or it may explain the effects of something. It can be order as cause and effect, or as effects and then causes. Unlike chronological order, the cause and effect text structure is generally used in expository and persuasive writing modes. For example, many people think that one may get sick if one goes into the cold weather improperly dressed. However, illnesses are not caused by temperature, they're caused by germs. So while shivering outside in the cold probably isn't strengthening your immune system, you're probably more likely to contract an illness indoors. In this particular diagram, I've made an X where there was an improper relationship between people don't dress properly for the winter and the effect of people getting sick, because that is not actually the true cause and effect. The true relationship lies in people are exposed to germs and people get sick. That is the actual true cause and effect in this image. When identifying a text written using the cause and effect pattern, it can be tricky. For some chronological passages, events occur for a reason, and this can be mistaken for the cause and effect text. However, stories are generally organized in chronological order. Cause and effect passages are more generalized and usually focus on explaining the reason why something occurs or why it occurred. Here are some signal words that may indicate that information is being organized in cause and effect. Because, as a result, resulted, caused, affected, and effect. Compare and contrast is a text structure or pattern of organization where the similarities and differences of 2 or more things are explored. For example, apples and oranges are both fruits, which means they have seeds inside of them. Each has a skin, but orange skins are thick and easy to peel, whereas apple skins are thinner and do not peel easily. Oranges also contain more acid than apples, but both fruits are delicious. Identifying when the writer is comparing and contrasting is usually not difficult, because the writer will bounce back and forth between 2 subjects, and this pattern is generally pretty easy to recognize. However, here are some signal words that may indicate that the text is written using the compare and contrast organizational pattern, like, unlike, both, neither, similar, and different. Classification explains a subject by identifying and describing its types or categories. For instance, a good way to discuss medical personnel is to arrange them into categories, such as doctors, practitioners, physician's assistants, nurses, and technicians. If you wanted to explain who makes up your college faculty, you could also classify the faculty members by the disciplines they teach, or you could classify them by age, level of skill, or some other factor. When reading, classification is a process of sorting people, things, or ideas into groups or categories to make them more understandable. In reading and writing, the classification pattern is used to explain a topic by describing its parts. Textbook writers often use the classification pattern to explain an unfamiliar or complicated topic by dividing it into more easily understood parts. These parts are selected on the basis of common characteristics. For example, a psychology textbook writer might explain human needs by classifying them into two categories, primary or secondary. Or in a chemistry textbook, various components may be grouped or classified according to common characteristics, such as presence of hydrogen or oxygen. These types of organizational patterns you can see are evident in both the reading passages that you read and also in the writing structure that you will use in any type of writing class, whether it be history, government, or your English 101.